So I need to make a video now. I was really tired when I got back from the gym today, and I was planning on making a video, but I found that I just lost the energy and fell asleep. But I have met a really, really interesting person today at the gym, and I'm pretty sure I've met the guy who inspired the Locke character, basically. Because I guess I didn't know too much at the beginning, but he said that he's like going to AA meetings, and it was just really strange because when he first approached me, he said that he had to approach me because he felt like there was some sort of aura or something about me that made me like different or made him feel a need to approach me and talk to me. And a couple of my clients have felt this same thing, but very, very few, like practically none, basically. And yeah, and so I knew that he was detecting on something. In fact, actually, I think when I saw him, I thought he was detecting something because I noticed he was looking strangely. But yeah, and then he started talking just about general, and it almost felt like we are connecting, almost like because he was saying how this morning he was just he wanted more reasons to come to the gym, and that he just felt like something was going to happen, or like he was going to meet some interesting people. I don't know, maybe he was just saying what he was saying to try and butter me up or something, but I believed that there was a lot about him, and I he seemed to be he seemed to be very in tune with what's going on. And I even talked about time travel, saying that I've got evidence on my website. And I noticed I gave the actual website with the guy that I spoke to the other day. Um, I said my website page, but I realized afterwards that I actually said it in the wrong order. Hence, it would actually be hard. Hence, he might not actually be able to find the page because I didn't. I think I said wix.com/AnnaBelindaB rather than it's actually AnnaBelindaB.wix.com slash God is female. So I didn't actually give them the right email, but I didn't give him the right address, the other one. But a part of me felt like I didn't really care if he didn't actually, because I didn't necessarily. He might have not wanted to see the videos, or I don't know how he would. We'll see, we'll see. But with this one, definitely, he 100%, I believe, would be able to believe that I was a god. But I didn't want to say those words, so I kind of just said everything else. Well, I said a lot of things. I didn't need to say more because I believe that he would do the research, and therefore I don't need to tell him. I feel like he would need to see the research, but he when I was able with the other guy, I was kind of trying to prove that God is a woman, not God is a man and a woman. And the evidence that he was bringing forth to try and disprove me was completely stupid, or like a candle worth of power. And I think he kind of did the same with time travel, because I was saying that, I've got evidence of time travel on my page, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no, I think that's definitely possible." Like, completely agreed with me, and he agreed with me on basically everything. I think there was one or two things. Like, I think he didn't think that God could be a woman, but it'd be more of a man and a woman again. But that's a very typical thing. But yeah, when I said that I've got 100% proof that God doesn't like people because of the everyone calling him a he, even people who don't believe in God would refer to God as a he. And it's just like, so you don't believe in God, but why is it that you're always calling him a he rather than a she? If you don't believe in him, and I said that I think God is a she, surely you would be like, okay, that you'll be thinking from my level. Okay, so God is a she, trying to prove that God is not a real by also saying she. But they never do that. They always, if I say that God's a woman, an atheist would always say, oh no, he's not, because of this, he's that. And they're just like, I'm saying it's a woman. So if you stop saying he and start saying all these things with a she, can you even do that? Like, a lot of them, I don't think a lot of them can, which is interesting. But yeah, I felt like I didn't know anything about this guy, but I felt like, he's been making, he said he feels like he's creating a visual world, online, because he's doing all these AA meetings, but the AA meetings are all in America. And I feel like I will be going to America, but I feel like I'm in a bit of a undecided about whether it's going to be California or New York, because I've been to California, and I noticed there are lots of songs about California, but I feel like I've fulfilled all of them except for the new one. There's that Nessa thing where I go to California for the weekend, but I haven't left in years. But then again, she represents the angel of the bullet, so technically, it could actually be referring to something else. She might not be referring to me when she sings that California song. It could just be because there's a lot of bad people in California. And I think if there is going to be a repetition of people wanting to go for the suicide option, I don't think that's going to leave California for years, basically. So, that California song, it feels like it could be talking about me, or it just could be talking about all the people that are going to take the suicide option, and it's going to stay there for years. But I don't know. But yeah, I just, there is New York. There's a few songs about New York, and I've never been to New York, other than to change flights once. But yeah, or twice actually now. But yeah, so I don't know though. Although it's Alicia who sings that New York Concrete Jungle where we dreams are made of. But I think there's a few new ones. I've heard a new one actually. Something about um, I don't know. It was something along the lines of the New York is the last stop or something. But I don't know. I don't know what's it referring to. But oh, I definitely like the Kanye West American Boy, where it's London to New York. But I don't know. And I was asking him questions because I was feeling like we were connecting so much so that we might be able to. And he said that he's near New York, Philadelphia, which is near 40 miles from New York or something. But I don't know. I'm going off track, aren't I? But it was a weird conversation because I got a lot from it, and he was 100% the most intelligent guy that I've met. Like I haven't met that many people, and okay, maybe there have been some clients that might have reacted in a good way, but it's disheartening when you say a bunch of stuff and then people respond in such an unintelligent, dumb way, or ask the most stupidest of questions, like things like, why do you want validation? I'm God. The world is waiting for me, has been waiting for me for thousands of years. So to ask me why I want validation and to prove that I'm a God to the world is like, isn't that like Santa Claus wanting to give presents out and you're thinking, why do you want to give presents out? It's like, I'm Santa Claus, that's my job. And yeah, that's how I feel when it comes to some people, the questions that people ask me when I tell them, oh God, it's just, I like to avoid that because I just feel like I'm talking to lunatics when I say that question. They will try and prove that I'm the lunatic, but they'll do it by saying something that makes me think that they're the lunatic. But yeah, but this one 100% was not like that. 100% very smart, very intelligent, and I felt so happy actually talking to him because I felt like if the whole world was full of people that were this smart, then I would be so much happier. And and it's strange because he's the only person that I could say that about. But he reminded me of Lot because he then revealed that actually he had once a really good life. I think 30 staff members, a good business, and he was quite well off. And then suddenly it all fell apart, and he lost all of it. And then he found himself homeless for many years, and then I developed a severe sort of an alcoholic problem. I don't want to say severe. I think that's his choice, not mine. But I I could relate to him, and I felt like I was able to help him a lot and give him advice, and uh, I think he very very much valued it, and he said he was going to remember me for a very long time. And I was like, you don't know the half of it. If you watch the videos on the page, the link that I've given you, it was almost like he knew what was about to happen because he kept saying that his life has recently in the last 6 months just made a complete turnaround, and he's so much better and happier. And I'm like, I don't think that turnaround has happened yet. I think it's going to happen the second you see these videos. But I'm sure he has turned it around from before. But then again, it's also been turned around again before that. But he's admitted that he's a lot happier now because of all the suffering that he's gone through has made him appreciate the smaller things. And it's not what you have; it's how much you appreciate what you have. And I think he very much appreciated me saying those words. I don't have much, but I have some words that are valuable and life's lessons. And if you can appreciate these words, then you'll be a much better person. But if you haven't gone through a bunch of suffering, you might just listen to these words that I'm saying and have no interest in them, and not want to be like, yeah, whatever, and walk off. And he admitted that if I would have said some of these things to him 5-6 years ago, he probably wouldn't have paid much of attention to it, or whenever it was. I don't know when I can't remember what he was saying about the dates, but you know, it's yeah, and I yeah, he is happier. I think he's still got a road, but he's been on a big spiritual journey. And he also told me that he felt like empathic, like he had a special ability or special gift to be able to read people and to get vibes or get intuition off them. And you know, I said I 100% agree with that, because you've just come to me and said what you said, and it, you know, it felt like through his suffering he'd actually developed a sixth sense on things, and that's far more valuable than having a great life with tons of money. Um, and and so yeah, and it's weird because I did watch a video about Lot. Um, it was a long time ago, but the cartoon that I watched did actually look very similar to him. And yeah, I felt like if anyone is going to be like the inspiration of the Lot character, he's definitely it, because um, he's a so much better person now. And okay, he might have lost everything, but yeah, I think he's a much better and happier. Okay, he probably still he's gonna his life's gonna get better. I think his life is gonna get better. I do want to know his future though. You know what would happen when he sees these videos, because he has been talking quite a lot of intelligence about, you know, the AA meetings and how they are helping him to recover. And he also talked about these AA meetings teaching about God and saying that we're not going to call him male or female. We're just going to let you decide your own course and so. So I felt like that the meetings that he was going were meetings run by people who actually knew things about me and were trying to help people, but not by telling them what sex God is. And I think that's actually quite an important thing, because you know, if you see me, hear my words, see my evidence, and still think that I'm a he, or still prefer to call God a he, that just shows your rejection of me. Like, you don't have to do it straight away. You know, I know it takes time. It took me time. Like, even I think it took me actually years before I stopped calling God a he accidentally. You know, it really was. But then again, I wasn't seeing that much evidence when I first started believing. When I first started believing, okay, there was loads of people doing songs about me. But all the Christian channels that I was watching, you know, everyone was calling me a he. And then it became easy to call me a he because they were all doing it, and I don't know, everyone calls God a he, so I was doing it too. So it took me a few years to stop calling God a he, but right now it's easy to stop me from calling me a he, because it's, you know, there's just evidence everywhere, and I feel angered almost to call myself a he now. um, and But yeah, people shouldn't be forced to call me a she. They should call me a she because they believe that that's how I want to be called. And if you believe that it doesn't matter whether I care if I am called a he or a she, then you're still stuck in the dark. That's as far as I'm concerned. You're still stuck in the dark. But yeah, I do know though that it might take a little while for people to start switching to calling God a she. But that's a good thing though, because sometimes people refer to God as being like a man, a human. I mean, like a human. And I feel like if you let people call God a he, you might find that people that call God a he would actually be not referring to me, and therefore you can tell that there's less truth in what they're saying. If they start by choice or natural feeling start calling God a she, I feel like you'll be able to tell that there's a lot more truth about what they're saying in regards to God. And the he thing, I think people naturally call God a he because naturally they don't know the truth. And I feel like calling God a he is a sign that you don't know the truth about God. And therefore, you know, if people want to call God a he, you need to let them call God a he, because it's a little warning sign that what they're saying might not be the truth.